Yo, what up, internet? Welcome to Bricks and Beer, episode 64. Cheers, everybody. Welcome back to your Monster podcast. As always, we are uncensored, unsomething, and definitely unprofessional. The reason why I say that, this episode and the next one's going to be a little weird, because we're going to do some time dilation. Apparently, I'm also having storm weather problems. There's not a glowing god over there. Anyway, this is the BrickCon episodes. This one is the road to BrickCon. The next one is from BrickCon. So there's going to be some talk in this room about the Dio I built. There's some road trip shit. And then there's a fucking hilarious episode at Morrow's house for MorrowCon. So yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a quick note. You know, these are late. Like, the con was a month ago. MorrowCon was over a month ago. So sorry, bros. I'm a jerk. Tonight's beer is the Windy Hill from Michaeler Brewing, San Diego, New England style IPA. It's very tasty. Shout out to the homie Carl. Carl looks like that. He gave this to me when we saw Crystal Method after BrickCon. So yeah, get ready to hear me right after the break. Cheers. Yo, what up, internet? Welcome to episode, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna call this. Yeah, of Bricks and Beer. Cheers, everybody. Bricks, beer. See? Roger. So we're on the weird mobile cam tonight. Two reasons. One, my wife stole the laptop, so I don't have the laptop. So we're going straight shaky cam. Two, I kind of need to be able to move the camera. Not to see me. You don't give a shit about that. So this episode, it's sort of like a lost episode. I'm going to talk a little bit before I show you the big nonsense. But yeah, so I'm making this for posterity, I guess, to document the thing. I don't know where the camera is on this, so it's weird. And two, because this is about to take an epic road trip, so this is sort of like stage one of that. So this is for Battle of the Techno Mages, which is our BrickCon 2018 giant collaborative dio. I'm going to show you something before I show you the actual dio, so bear with me. So, here, I'm not sure if I can turn this on now. Awesome. I guess I can't. Sorry, internet. Part two. Yeah. So, imagine this is a bunch of tables. This is Morrow's layout. Zach's, Jeff's, Shin / Rayford, me. This was the blueprint for what this thing is. This is 4/48. No, this is 3/32s, this front section. This is a 48, and this is a 32. So every 4x4 is a 32. So there technically is 3x3 here. You'll figure it out when I walk around to this side, and I give you a overall scope of what this fucking thing looks like. Metal as fuck. Yeah. So the real second reason for this is I have to break this down and make it travel, which it's built to do. It's doable, but it's big, and it's a motherfucker. It's bigger than my table. Like, it's hanging off the edge of my table over here. So yeah, this is one of the 4 realms of the many that will be taking place in Battle of the Techno Mages. Think of like Heavy Metal Magazine, you know, wizards, technology, things like that. This realm in particular, the kind of working title is Techno Mordor. I probably should have a more creative original name for it. But it takes a bunch of influence from a bunch of things. Mordor, obviously being one since it's in the name. There's also Mustafar, which is where Darth Vader's castle is. It's also where he gets all of his legs cut off, which is pretty metal. I love his castle. And then lastly, there's also Aku's world in Samurai Jack, which is very insect-like and has spires and whatnot. And then there's a heavy dose of H.R. Geiger. You know, there's weirdness happening all over the place. Sorry, I'm blocking the light there. And buildings and whatnot. It's gonna photograph terribly because it's solid black. But yeah, this will kind of be the main viewing angle. There's some lights in here, so you can tell there's lights there. The tower also is lit. There's a diffuser in there. And then this is super cool. So this Cylon piece is a Hero Factory scale Bionicle piece that came in one set, and I have that courtesy of Jeff. This crazy antenna thing actually rotates. There's a motor in here, but it sounds annoying, to say the least. Lights in that building. Murder Cube. I didn't actually build the Murder Cube. This is Jeff's. He was like, hey, because I needed more trans red because there's this giant river of blood, and the waterfalls are all vertical, which I did not account for. And so he gave me a bunch of trans red, and he gave me this death cube that didn't have this stuff on top, but it was the cube. And he was like, you can just tear this apart. And I was like, fuck no, it's going in there. So light in there. It's all IKEA lights. They're all super bright, super easy to use. The wiring's super small. This is actually a functional wire for this light, which is kind of cool. Yeah, so it's fucking metal as shit. There's a portal, obviously, to go to the arena world, and I will have a champion. He is in the works. One of the things I wanted to do with this that I've always wanted Keith Goldman to do is to make a single minifigure Dio. Meaning, like, do something big and dumb like this, and only have there be one minifigure, because I feel like that makes the impact of that minifigure way cooler. So here's this super cyberpunk dude. I love this face. He's awesome. And he will be summoning, ultimately, a big kaiju monster out of the River of Blood. I have 2 weeks left to do that, and that I can throw on a plane, so that's totally doable. All of this shit, the fucking rocks, and hey, chill out. You're good. Sorry, my dog's freaking out. So anyway, I guess that's about it. Before we go, there's the kaiju. He's in the works. My dog's bummed. There she goes. So yeah, I don't think I can flip this around for whatever reason, which is the suck. But you guys fucking take it easy. I will see you probably immediately after this cut. All right, later. Through the power of the internet, space and time have been bent. It's tomorrow, the next day. What's up, Jeff?
I'm having a good time.
We had to switch to the wife's car because we have too much fucking Lego.
Boom.
I got my shit down to 3 bins.
I got mine in
5.
4.
5.5. 4.5.
Well, that box is mostly for Zach.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So speaking of which, we're starting the journey. We got 5.5 hours to go.
Ooh.
We might see you in the future.
Yeah. Maybe
after the next cut.
Start this.
Yo, internet. Time warp.
Get in the frame, dude.
We're here now. We made it.
Now.
Last time you saw us, we were not here.
We were on the other
we're
side.
Here now. So we're at Morrow's house. Fucking MorrowCon.
Woo!
What up? Yes, we're hanging out.
First MorrowCon with a full quorum.
Yeah, it took 3 years to get here.
4 of us.
3 years for all 4 of this.
Yeah.
Like, multiple iterations of in between, but now it's finally happening.
Yeah, this is good.
Yeah, so we
best MorrowCon ever.
We got here yesterday, which is why we're not totally dying and exhausted, but we fucking made it. All the Legos here. It's excellent, and yeah, that's fucking it. That's the intro. I'm done talking. Now it's your guys' turn. But yeah, anyway, we did make it here. It's fucking great.
And Morrow, you want to turn on your shit?
No. We got. That's the slow burn. That's the slow burn.
All right, man. Spoiler warning.
Yeah,
well, You know, I did try to discuss this beforehand, but you know,
there's no plan.
Maverick.
We got some beer. I got some Racer 5.
What are you drinking?
We got a liquor store over there. Alameda's rad. We did go to the brewery yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. Mm-hmm. Which was a pretty impressive experience. Like, we show up, and a dude's like, yo, you're here. You're drinking for free. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's
I'm
always
definitely
nice when
down with
happens.
that.
Bring some beer has
Yeah, and fucking Alameda's rad, dude. Your town's awesome.
I like it here.
So far, so good.
Agreed.
to have
It's
you guys
super
here.
nice to be hanging out in Alameda, walking around. You know, you don't get to walk anywhere in LA, so yeah, that's pleasant.
Yeah. So yeah, we fucking finally made it happen. Zach came through today. Couldn't be here for our landing last night, but it's all good. You made it.
Yeah, and if you come to Alameda, you should bring a jacket at night. Otherwise, you have to borrow other people's jackets.
I guess I'm just sharing my water with the cat now.
Yeah,
Sweet.
So
Hey,
she
hey.
likes water. Yeah. We have a fog bank in the Bay Area. His name is Carl. And he just comes and goes as he pleases.
Carl.
Yes.
It
That's
definitely
I like it as a name.
it's
Yeah.
pretty
And it's
cool.
Carl.
It is.
Carl shows up.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
He makes it pretty cool.
Yeah,
That's
just,
that's
you know.
pretty apparent.
He's like, was anybody hot over here? 'Cause
I can take it. I can bring
Oh,
it
yeah.
down. I can
Yeah.
bring it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always thought the
Take
city
care of
seal of San Francisco, if there is such a thing, should have the words "bring a jacket"
That would be smart. That would be smart. Yeah.
in Latin, or just not. You know, maybe it just should be a jacket. Anyway, I also forgot to bring a jacket, just like last time.
I didn't.
But
I
I was.
brought a sweatshirt. It's on brand. It says bring some beer.
I
But
stayed
it's
up. Okay,
over
but
there.
this is what happened to me. So Thursday, I stayed up till 4:00 in the morning, and then woke up at 7. Got the kid to school. Went to Home Depot, got some boxes, and then started packing like crazy. And was still packing like crazy
Dude,
when Andrew showed
The
up.
best part about that is like Jeff and I we've been coordinating this for way too long. Like
too long.
fucking way too long.
Yeah.
I looked at the shit that was in the back of the truck and I was like, that's 8 months of my life. 3 boxes. 8 months of my fucking life. Like, Jesus Christ. But anyway, so like I've been talking to Jeff. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna be there at noon. I'm gonna fucking grab your ass at noon. And I knew 100% that you were just gonna go hard the night before. And that's why when I texted you, my in-laws came into town, and I was like, I'm about to go out to breakfast, and I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna be to you around noon. That's hours from now. And he was like, cool, I just got some boxes. I was like, I knew it, motherfucker!
You got ready.
And then I took my time, because traffic sucked and all this shit, and I roll up. But to your credit, everything was in a box.
Dude,
It was fucking ready to go.
I have to admit, the psychological impact of what was ready when you showed up was on my mind.
Dude, it was good.
So
it was a stack of boxes.
Yeah. But I was like,
ready to go.
because I had broken it down like halfway, and then I was like, okay, the shit that's off, wrap it up, put it in a box, do it now. You know? Don't break down the Simon Lou frames yet. And
So we should actually talk about this road trip journey. So all this footage obviously is being shot before Con. None of us have been to Con yet.
right.
Con will have happened by the time you guys have seen this.
Presumably, there's
So
also
this is like
episode from
no
Con
spoilers.
that we've also taken.
We can't,
Yeah, yeah.
We can't break the prime directive.
Right.
exactly.
in a show.
Temporal prime directive.
Yeah.
The other prime
Things
directive.
things get weird.
Yeah.
We should know. Well, people should know that we're a week before Con.
2 weeks.
2 weeks before
2
Con.
weeks. 2
A
weeks.
week
There's
before we
one.
leave.
2 weeks
There's
from
one
now.
weekend
Motherfuckers.
between now and the Con weekend.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we're now here in Northern California, but these motherfuckers are driving to Seattle with all the shit
That's
that
true.
we brought
Mm-hmm.
and all of their shit. And what was funny is, like, right before we go to leave, I'm talking to my wife and I'm talking to Jeff and I'm feverishly packing all this shit, going like, I think I could fit this in the hatch. And I could
Oh,
give Jeff
my
the
God.
back seat. And I'm like, I don't think this is going to work.
We walked by a car today, and Andrew goes, "Oh, there's my car."
Yeah.
And I look at
Made
that, and
the
I was
right
like,
choice.
"Yeah, this would not
Brought
have
the
worked."
big car. I was like, dude, it's like $50 extra in gas.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be worth it. And my wife goes, so let me ask you this. If you and Jeff need the SUV, and there's 2 others, and I was like, 2 cars.
Yep. Yeah.
Zach's ride or die. He's going to take the seats out of his Kia Soul.
We did the math.
We
We
have
did
a
the
plan.
math. Really, we did it.
But we are kind of counting on you to still be ride or die. Like,
Oh yeah, it's good. Again, if I have, and I'm looking over here, looking at Jeff's boxes, if that's what I'm
they are.
bringing plus my own stuff, I'm confident.
Yeah,
that will be fine.
you could probably make it work.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys should talk about the next leg of the journey that's still to come.
Yeah, we're doing more A-full hangout visits.
Yeah.
We're rolling into Seattle early, doing a 2-day trip up. Gonna hang out with
for the
Shin.
quote unquote shindig.
The Shindig.
The
Shindig.
ShinCon.
Yeah.
Mr. Shin and Mr. Rayford, who are also contributing to this year's display.
Land of the
Which none of us
Yeah.
have really
They
seen.
live on an
Like
island.
we have some text messages from this magical island that sort of show snippets of stuff. But I will whatever it is, it's going to be a surprise to me.
Mhm.
Like which will be pretty cool.
We're doing a Dio fly-in.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So the fun thing about the whole Whack Lug extended family is that like people do kind of like roll in right at the last minute.
Yeah.
with surprises,
Mhm.
Yeah,
which
Yeah.
I love. Like
They surprise
know-
us with big shit too. Like,
yeah,
it's
some
usually
crazy
they come
awesome
through.
stuff.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you know Brom's gonna show up and have some badass like walker creature thing.
I hope
you
so.
know.
I hope so.
Or somebody is.
We're calling you
Just,
out,
just
bro.
show, but show up. Whatever,
In the
bro. Just
past.
show up.
Yeah. Everybody comes in. to
We're
find
glad that
out.
you showed up in the future past.
Does the Bricks Mirror audience know what the theme is or what's happening
so
right now?
You
You can
like,
tell them
like
now
8
because
minutes
they'll have
ago
already seen
in this video, I briefly told them about the general concept and my diet.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
But I haven't covered really any of your guys' portions at all. So we haven't really talked in any way through this. So we should actually, since the four of us are sitting here, we should probably really dive into
Kind
that.
of like go the
Yeah.
original Genesis.
Yeah.
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 And, well, and that really starts with you.
Yeah. Okay.
So-
Yeah.
The idea was, I used to be a castler, and I collected armies of castle guys.
Says the guy with the wool pack shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Badass,
Go
by the
figure.
way, well,
Go
factor.
figure.
Yeah.
And we were doing all these dios, and we did Space Nom and stuff, and I was like, I have all this castle shit, how can I somehow, like, do something that's castle-like, but I also wanted to do something, new and different, because
Yeah.
I feel like I love castle, it's cool. I kind of got out of castle because I kind of felt like castle was played out.
It really, like, there isn't... I don't think that, like, innovative, creative thing... Like, it could be there, but I don't think it is.
Yeah.
Like, for some reason, that community doesn't seem to be pushing
Everybody's-
the way everybody else is.
Yeah, everybody's happy with doing, like, Game of Thrones historical stuff.
Yeah, or Lord of the Rings,
Yeah.
it's
Or
like...
just pushing with a craggly new
Yeah.
rock form, but it's still castles.
Yeah. Like, the landscaping definitely has stepped up on the castle
Mhm.
side,
Mhm.
but I don't think, like, the concept is
Well, I
really
remember that was
pushed.
actually when we did Moonbase. That we were sort of informing ourselves from the work that the castle folks have been doing.
Right.
Yeah,
And that was
definitely.
fun.
Like we referenced a lot
Yeah.
of our like landscape.
Yeah,
I'm
from
gonna
what was
loop
happening
back to this thought in a minute.
Okay.
But
So
let's
props to
continue
castle.
with the,
Yeah.
with the like, okay, I want to do something maybe castle related, but different. Like something that is not just like, it's not just space, it's not just a sci-fi thing. And I kind of like always wanted to do something that was inspired by the kind of work of the heavy metal founders of the magazine, like Philippe Drouillet and Jean-Gerard Mobius.
Mhm.
And just kind of like the whole like aesthetic of the late 70s heavy metal scene. Not just the music, because it wasn't just about the music.
Yeah,
It's
right.
like, like the album cover art.
Yeah,
Of just,
yeah.
like
More about
spaceships on fire.
we definitely
and
talked.
fucking
We definitely talked about like,
wizards and
late
dragons.
'70s, early '80s, that era of artwork in general.
Yeah.
Just like how it really pushed.
And it's so funny, actually, that connection. A friend of mine was talking about Led Zeppelin and this whole like Lord of the Rings connection they had.
Mhm.
And he goes,
Yeah,
"There's no real connection. I mean, they're just kind of like a blues band,
Yeah.
And but they like latched onto this fan, this like and the Nazgul and thing, and it was like metal.
yeah.
Shout out to
So-
you, Jordan.
So growing up, like I've always been into cars, and like I remember looking at these custom vans that were coming out. And
Oh
again, this is after-
airbrush.
Yeah, the airbrush art. Like, and this is after, again, I'm like, in my teens at the time, and
yeah.
it's kind of past the vibe. But you look back at magazines and look back at historical stuff, 10, 20 years
Yeah,
later.
yeah.
But you see this stuff in the 70s, and it's like there's airbrush art on these vans is like metal.
Well, I think in a
Yeah,
way
it's
that
crazy.
disconnect is actually really cool for people of our age, being like a child of the '80s. But then you look at this stuff from like that late '70s,
Yeah.
and because it's only a couple of years apart,
Yeah.
but it's so different that it's almost like
Mhm.
that it's a new alien world
Right.
in a lot of ways.
And it's not something that people do a lot these days. I feel like it was
Yeah.
very much of that era, and then people just kind of like moved on and they're like, oh no, we're doing Lord of the Rings. And
Yeah, well, and like,
Yeah.
so like,
more
yeah.
like what you consider normal fantasy type
Right.
themes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Not
exactly,
like
yeah.
metal.
Well,
yeah.
and I
none
think
of
the
psychedelic
Yeah.
the key
landscapes.
thing that we
Yeah.
kind of all drew on this when we first started talking about this was that it's not strictly fantasy
Mhm.
and it's not sci-fi. It's this
this
blend of the
gray
two.
zone, yeah.
So it's it's like all that stuff. It's like Jack Kirby, kind of. There's some of
Yeah.
that pulls in, and then
Yeah.
there's like there's just
Yeah,
influences from
yeah.
all over the place.
Yeah.
But one of the through lines was epic.
So like
Yeah,
there was a moment though where you broke this down, you explained this to us, and you were like, "I've got it." Like I distinctly remember this because it was like the way we've been doing this. We for new viewers, whoever the fuck watches this or whatever, like
Thank you.
yes, thumbs up, smash that like button.
Oh, no. Yeah.
So
Whatever. Do whatever the fuck you want.
yeah. So, but like, we've been doing these dios for a while. Like, and what's rad is behind us. It's basically like Wacklug's greatest hits of Mara. So it's like there's Star Vikings, there's Nexo Knights, there's Moonbase, there's Space Nom. There's the skeleton of Space Nom over there.
Tiny chunk of space.
Yeah, like there's so it's this history of us working together and pushing the limits and like driving it more and more. And I remember like at some point everybody, because every year everybody asks us like, so what's next year?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I remember you coming to us and being like, I got it.
Yeah,
this is what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
And I think at that point you said, this is not for next year. This is for years out. Like,
Yeah.
this is a while.
We've been planning this at least 2 years.
Yeah.
I've been working on my section since before Nexo Nights, which was just this past year.
Yeah.
Right? Like just formulating ideas and coming up with like stuff,
totally.
and it's like
Well, I think the Flickr group was
This,
put together.
yeah,
right.
Yeah, I think at that moment.
Like
Yeah.
November 2016, I think
Yeah.
is when the
Yeah.
Flickr group started. So it was right after
And
Moonbase.
we did like the basic layout of like,
Yeah.
okay,
And we even
we're
knew
each
that
gonna do
2017 was going to be like a chill year.
Mhm.
And we figured out Technomages before we figured out the next one.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
We did.
So hopefully you guys have seen the layout at this point, and
Right.
this all kind of makes sense contextually. But if you haven't, the thing I referred to 15 minutes ago or whatever with the rectangles of different layouts and where they are, the general consensus is the quick notes of it are there's an arena world and then there's all these different realms. And essentially there's infinite realms, but we built these various different realms to be able to port into this arena world.
They're all linked by a warp gate.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. This very tangential connection. Like it doesn't have to be a direct thing, even.
Well, it's pretty much there's almost like an anything goes. And that's not strictly true.
But
You know,
it
like,
is.
if
But
somebody-
it is.
Like
That's the beauty of this
steampunk
project.
would work. Like a Terran Transit Authority type spaceship doesn't really have a place here, but but if it's metal as fuck, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
And our buddy Chris White like submitted a bunch of stuff. He's like, here's some dudes, and they're all mostly gold. We're like, yep.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You
it
know, it's
works.
like,
Yeah.
here's some witches who are making plant life, and like their victims will be covered in plants. We're like, yep.
Like,
You know, it's
Yeah.
like,
definitely find
all
something
of
in
it.
the info that references.
Well,
something like
and
that,
so,
or,
like, just to kind of talk
the
like
barons. Like,
logistics with this. So when we first came up with this, we've done all these dios. They've all been somewhat thematically cohesive. We have gone to the level on Moonbase where literally Zach and I are texting each other photos going, 32 studs? 32 studs.
Yeah.
Our buildings need to
yeah,
match up exactly.
nine studs in.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is where the stars.
yeah. The stripe
here's
goes
the
up,
picture.
3 bricks or whatever.
just
It's
telling somebody about this today.
fucking madness, right?
Yeah.
This one was beautiful because it was basically, you have an island, you have an island, you have an island, you can do whatever the fuck you want on your island.
Yep.
And so it's,
Dio flying.
yeah, it's basically
it's like we
Diofly.
learned from
Years of doing
And
this.
And at the
I
same
like to
time-
think we learned it. Also, I'm like, what have we learned? Anything? What
Yeah,
what
because
have
at
we
the
Whoa.
same time, I feel like that kind of happened organically.
Yeah.
Where we were just
True.
like throwing out ideas and like that's what
Well,
stuck.
Yeah.
And they were like,
so-
oh, that's gonna be really easy.
There's
Yeah,
a voice
right.
that isn't in this yet. I'm sure he will be in this probably later if you keep watching. But it's Aaron, and my best thing about Aaron, like my favorite thing about Aaron, is him being the 5th Ninja Turtle.
Mhm.
Is that he just kind of pipes in with that outside like Splinter observation where he goes, "This is the biggest thing you guys have ever done." Right? And you go,
That's right. That's
yeah,
right.
and he
You're
goes,
like, wait, it is.
well, and the other observation that he fucking just like hit home, where you're just like, yeah, fuck, dude, you're right. He goes, "Oh, you just all wanted to build whatever the fuck you wanted to build," and I'm like, yeah, we kind of just did what we wanted to do within this framework.
Mhm.
But like we all love the framework, so it's like obviously we're not going to violate that, you know.
And the interesting thing on that is that I think that all of our ideas kind of evolved as we started doing more and more stuff.
yeah,
Like, I mean, my original design ended up not being my final design, like, at all. But elements of the original design existed, right?
yeah.
I mean, I remember, like, telling you guys, like, on one of our calls, it was like, hey, here's my new idea. I'm doing this, like, underwater shit.
Yeah.
And
Dude,
you guys were like, yes, that's what you're
once
doing.
You,
And
once
we're
you
like,
hit the
all right,
underwater
cool.
thing, so like
Yeah.
there was this weird moment where I went, oh, fire, water, land,
Yeah.
air.
Yep.
It
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Like this is Battle Beast.
And it
is, right?
happened, like, not accidentally, but it
No, but
happened
it
organically.
all,
was
it all
like,
seemed
you
to
know,
sort of coalesce
Yeah.
really
And then
organically.
I remember,
yes.
like,
was
I
meant to
remember,
be.
yeah, and I remember, like, I was really excited because I had this idea that I think I could execute on, and, like, I told you guys about it, and you guys were like,
Go.
yeah, your heads
Yeah,
were, like,
just
exploding
go.
almost. I was
Oh,
like,
no, it was
Yeah.
beautiful.
this is exactly what needs to happen.
Well, that's
I was
the
like,
thing,
okay, that kind of validates, like, you know,
we
it makes you
had-
feel good. It's like, yes, that's
Mhm.
what I'm doing.
We had this
I'm in the right
breakdown, and like I can't remember how it went, but originally I thought, like early on, before we really landed what we were all doing, I thought the breakdown was going to be the arena was. I didn't really think that there would need to be somebody building the arena. I thought you were going to be doing the Thor Ragnarok type city.
Yeah, the original plan was that we each have
Yeah.
a realm,
You
and
were
the
gonna do-
arena would
you
just
were
sort of
post-apocalypse.
materialize.
I was like,
Oh,
Mad
yeah,
Max.
you were
It
gonna be like
which
Mad
is
Max.
so radically different than what you
Yeah.
actually ended up with, and
Yeah.
I'm so glad you don't have
Oh
a
my god! Yeah,
desert Mad
yeah,
Max.
yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
You know?
Like,
And I guess you and I were always.
Yeah, I mean,
what
we
wound up
were-
being, yeah.
yeah.
Because I wanted to tackle like weird elves, good weirdness.
Well, like the cool thing is like so. Number one, y'all know I love you and I fucking love working with you, but like
No.
watching you
This
guys
guy.
do this.
This fucking guy.
It's
Yeah.
like, dude, it's so rad. So like yours is of course yours, which means
Yeah.
it evolves and it changes, and you're in a way hypercritical, and everything sort of has to evolve to a point that
Mhm.
like, so yours doesn't start out from like start to finish. Mine is just like neurosis. I just need to get the thought out of my head and into the brick.
Yeah.
So that's gonna
I
happen.
can't deal with that. Like, I can't do that.
Jeff is like this production pro, so he visualizes basically the entire plan, doesn't execute any of it until the last minute, and then it fucking works out. And
I
then
had
Morrow,
2 weeks ago, I had no
Morrow is a
concept.
mad fucking genius.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Oh,
Look at this
God,
shit.
ever done.
Hold that up to the
Yeah.
camera. Hold that up to the camera. Because like, I was staring at this earlier and being like, dude, you drew every wedge plate.
Yeah.
You know
Oh my god.
the number of wedge plates you need.
It's a rough
I-
guess. It wasn't exact.
I can't do this,
I
dude.
want to post
That makes my
shit.
brain fucking fall out of my head.
Yeah,
Like,
man.
yeah, man. It, like,
Anyways.
it-
So
like
good.
I knew a basic footprint, which changed. I
Mm-hmm.
knew a basic layout, which kind of stayed to it. Like, I still have my miniature, like my mini version. I'm like, yeah, it's comparable, but it's not that, dude. And like,
I had to do this, like, because this is seriously the most difficult thing I've ever attempted to do.
dude, and it looks fucking
I-
gangster,
yeah.
dude. It's gangster. We're really slow burning this.
Yeah.
Oh,
And also,
in theory, you
Jen
all
is
already
here,
seen this, so it's fine.
Am I interrupting?
No, come on in.
Come on in.
You're now on the show.
Yeah.
What up?
Your guest appearing.
There's a car on fire on the freeway.
Oh, is
Oh,
what that
shit.
was?
All right.
Fully on fire.
Did it get lit on fire from the fireworks? Is it a twofer?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
I think
All
we all have to move, I think.
Yeah.
I'm
Say what up,
Ice
Internet, here's Jenna.
cream. What up, Internet?
I'm gonna use this
My
opportunity to
wife.
grab another beer while there's some
Yeah.
chaos happening.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Jeff, you're co-host. Keep
Yeah.
it rolling.
All right.
No, actually, well, it's fun.
It's
What's
now
so
the
funny
Jeff
is that
Mara
you talked about how Philippe Drouet
Mhm.
one of the 3 or 4 guys that founded Heavy Metal Magazine in the 70s was one of the influences on this. I actually never had heard of that dude. And one of my coworkers found a book of his stuff. And it blew my mind. And I've been calling this one particular picture that I found on the internet that I've been telling everybody, this is my spirit animal right now, this picture. And I'm going to go put my phone in front of you. You know, you guys can all do your sneaky back into your seats while I'm hiding.
You just got asked out, dude.
Yeah. So this is all right. So this is Philippe Drouet, and this is like buildings made of things that look like people. Is the crazy shit like that? You know, like this guy over here, like that dude in the back.
Don't touch the trackpad, Jeff.
Oh, shut up.
It's sitting on the buttons, so I've been there before.
I'm not allowed to touch the computer.
I think the timer's still
Yeah,
going.
we're
I did touch the computer. Anyway, it was a great coincidence. Like, I found this guy, and I was like, "Oh, I found this dude who lived in the '70s." And Marla was like, "Yeah, Philippe Drouet, one of the founders of heavy metal."
The two of you, I feel like number one, I have a degree in graphic communication. I took some art history classes. No, you guys are experts. Like, all of a sudden, they're just rattling off names and fucking sending photos, and I'm just like, all of this is rad.
I mean, it's just cool shit that I look at on the internet all the time.
Yeah, it's fucking rad, though. It's like, and there was so much inspiration, and like, just fucking going, like.
Well, and I think for my dio, like, one of the things that really I learned a lot about was, like, Jack Kirby, right?
Oh,
and,
yeah.
That's the other sort of balls
and,
out artist that we're really emulating.
Yeah.
If you want
Who's that architect?
For those who don't know, Galactus is Jack Kirby.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange.
A lot of the original Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Well, what's funny is I don't even really
of,
like reading the comics from that era.
Yeah.
Like, they're too
Yeah.
kid-ish for me.
Sure.
But I love what Jack Kirby. I mean, that's one of the reasons I love Thor Ragnarok is because it's like
Yeah.
I didn't know-
nails that is.
I didn't know I wanted to see a
Yeah.
Jack Kirby movie until now, and
Yeah.
I'm so psyched that it happened. Yeah.
Well, and just like the use of color and the use of
Yes.
shapes
Yes.
and texture on the
Yeah.
art is just insane. And I learned a lot. Like, I did a lot of research, like, about Kirby, like looking at this for my buildings. And then you, I think, Moro, sent the pictures
Who's that
of
architect?
the architect
Oh, yeah.
that was doing all the buildings.
Freddie Mamami?
Oh,
Yeah.
So
that
like
dude.
It's like
That
a
dude.
Bolivian
we butchered his
architect.
name, I'm sure. But yeah,
Yeah.
he's from Bolivia.
We'll put a link in the thing.
No, we won't.
I'll
Yeah.
I'll put it when I get around to comment. My comment will have the link to the thing.
There's
I
an
know you
annotation.
don't
It's
promise links.
No,
over
again,
there.
again.
Really? Just like there's random shit that I found on the internet. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is fucking cool, and I always like save it.
Well, isn't that everybody who's talented?
Yeah.
That's
Right.
what they do,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Now, that's
Well,
the
and that's
thing.
and
Yeah.
If I
that's
show the
looking
internet,
at
it's
you,
cool.
you put the pictures in the Flickr pool, and I'm looking through them like, dude, these are awesome. And like, there's multiple buildings I have that are like based on that design.
Well, people
It's
ask about
this.
like how does this stuff, like how do you guys come up with this, and like how does it all work out? And it's because we're constantly communicating with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like the weekly calls, like we've talked about this. We hang out every Thursday. It's basically this, but like the four of us are in different realms of
It's
Lego
like-
rooms doing like weird
I
shit.
see these two guys about twice a year.
Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
seems
Yeah.
like
I see you
them
every
all the
week.
fucking
Right.
time.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
it's weird that you guys are all in my house, and at the same time, it just feels totally natural.
Yeah.
Well, you
Like,
said that.
yeah.
You said that last night. We went to the
Right.
brewery, and you were like, "This at one time feels super crazy weird, and then also just totally normal."
Because we
And I
live in
was
the
like,
future.
yeah, man.
It's
Yeah.
like because I talk and hang out with you guys all the time. It's just over a virtual, screen.
Yeah,
Fiber.
So there's just like all this information passing back and forth for the last 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so it's
A lot of there's 70s sci-fi Tumblr pages out there that have
Mhm.
a ton of great stuff, and
yeah.
but it's all coming from the same place, which is just this really just dedication to just whoa, where can your brain go?
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
amazing, these crazy vistas,
Jean Girard did a lot of drugs.
yeah, oh yeah,
Right.
Well, that's what's
I'm
funny
very
is.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jordan again. He gave me this a very early heavy metal story by Angus McKee, who's one of those old guard painters from back then, called "So Beautiful, So Dangerous." And I was going through it, and the visuals are fantastic, but the writing is just this in my opinion, just like this endless, like long, like I don't want to say screed, but it's just sort of like cosmic awareness and giant stuff.
Yeah.
And actually, a lot of the Philip Drouet stuff from these books that my coworker dug up were kind of like that. Like the writing was all sort of like, oh, the cosmic center and all this shit. But what the images are these like fucking floating pyramids and these like rivers of people. Like, just people, like, floating in space because it's, like, their souls being transmigrated or some shit. And, like, statues that are bigger than the Earth.
I do feel like this is the most artiste thing we've
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
Like, we're clearly pushing the limits of, is this space?
Yeah.
Does this belong? Is there a table for this? And it's like, well, no.
No.
Yeah. Like, this is its own thing.
Yeah.
In a way, but it's also like
we're gonna put it in space because that's our home.
Yeah, because that's where we live.
Although I kind of wanted to invade Castle.
Like, right? Yeah, it's very much fantasy. It's very much like very close. It's similar.
Space fantasy.
So Nexo Knights, I mean, I know that's a malign theme by a lot of people. They like want either castle or space. I think Nexo Knight is badass. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think Nexo Knight is badass.
I mean,
But
you
this
all
is-
know our opinion on
Yes.
Nexo Knights.
But-
we love
See
this
above.
shit.
But what we did
Transcript.
here, it's
Yeah,
similar in a way.
over
It's like, what we did here is similar in a way because you could classify a lot of the aspects of what is present in different realms. Of most notably, it would be castle or fantasy.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Dude, can I tell a story about
Yes.
Jeff and the fucking Lovecraftian shit?
Oh yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
So
Okay, sure.
no, this is a fantastic. So again, like we talked about this is very artistic, and we have a bunch of super like talented people here, and we have these conversations. You learn more about these people that you have conversations with every week, but like you feel like you're learning something new.
Well, like
A
the
lot.
chat
And-
is off the chain
yeah.
all the time.
And-
Like, it's like the chat fluctuates
Correct.
between me being like, oh my god, guys, I'm freaking out about this. Look at this thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what to do or whatever. And then Zach asking for feedback
Yeah.
of like, hey, what do you guys think about this? Like, there's all these different things happening in the chat all the time.
Are you fucking serious right now?
On the internet. You're
on
on
Bricks
the
and Beer,
internet.
buddy. Hi, Julie.
Just hold it up to the...
taping Bricks and Beer right
Just
now.
hold it up to the computer.
Hi, Zach. No.
Yeah.
What does Julie
so-
have to say?
Can
Yeah.
you tell me something right now on Bricks and Beer?
Do you want to tell the internet something right now?
Okay,
Yeah.
love you.
She's
All
not
right,
the first-
goodbye.
She's not the first wife to interrupt this
Yeah, she's
particular cast.
This is
Oh,
true.
It's Julie.
Yeah,
She's been on the cast. So.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah.
So
Julie
but-
didn't
but-
have anything to say.
I'm just saying, this
Okay.
episode is already,
Yeah, it's awesome. But going back to like what I learned about Jeff is like Andrew is like
Shit.
Andrew is like taking pictures of stuff and showing stuff, and he shows this like crazy thing, and it was like this creature with like 3 eyes or whatever.
Yeah,
And we're like,
I
cool.
started working
And
on
And
that.
then Jeff, and you're gonna have to tell me the name because Jeff's like, oh, that
there's-
looks like
There's no consonants.
yeah, that looks like
Or no vowels.
Neurapalaptolaptolin or whatever. And I'm like, what? And he's like, oh yeah, it's this Lovecraftian dude, and I'm like,
No. So what he said is, that looks like the blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
the blank of the blank. And I was like, nerd alert. And then he just fucking smashes the like,
yeah,
hey,
and it's like,
here's this book I have. That I'm going to take a photo of the definition of your 3-eyed bat
No.
creature, which can kill 100 humans, but it needs an hour's notice.
yeah.
I'm not sure what that's about. Why does it need an hour?
Oh my god.
Because it's Lovecraft, you familiar. But the funny thing is like we learned from this that Jeff
1 hour.
knows. No, this is what I learned about this. I learned Jeff knows the name of this person off the top of his head. I learned B, he spelled it completely correct. And I learned that C, he actually has this
esoteric
Lovecraftian book as his
Lovecraftian
mouse pad.
demon monster.
Yeah,
Right,
as his
yeah,
mouse
yeah,
pad.
right,
It's a
yeah.
Lovecraftian, but
Well, and
But
then
that's the type of
and
thing
then
that's
like
like-
the next day, like we're clowning on Jeff for his like super
oh, I thought
weird
it was awesome.
Lovecraft nerdiness,
Yeah.
and then somehow Aaron and I get on Slaanesh, which is like the god of excess in 40K, and it's just like, oh yeah, we're all just nerds.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
so,
As if there was any...
As if there's any
about that
doubt.
matter.
But-
Right,
Yeah.
for the Lovecraft nerds in the audience, what we're talking about is, I think it's pronounced Nyarlathotep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So not what
say
I
that
said.
5
Yeah.
times fast.
And and when I was trying to like read all the Lovecraft I could
Yeah,
find,
yeah.
Yeah, oh dude, everybody knows
I
that.
went out of the way to figure out how to pronounce that, which meant I remembered how to spell it. So when I shot it out in this text, I spelled it right,
Yeah.
and
Like I thought
And-
that
and
you spelled it wrong.
and
And then
my
you're like, hold on,
Nobody would know.
autocorrect
number one.
thought I spelled it wrong.
Yeah,
my-
well, autocorrect is
wait.
one thing, any Lovecraft thing is
Yeah.
just you smashing the keyboard.
But the funny thing is like as fast as he responded to that, I knew he didn't look it
No,
up. I
dude,
knew
it was
he
like
knew about
it was within
I didn't look it up.
moments.
And
Like,
that's the type of thing that like you just get to know, you bros. and
Sometimes
it's
I
like,
remember something
dude,
and I remember it forever.
yeah,
That's just how it
and
is.
it's like now I
Yeah.
know I go to Jeff for Lovecraftian shit because he knows that shit. Like it just down
So
pat.
my mouse pad is right now. I have 2 copies of the deities and demigods that had like the first and second edition had the Lovecraft monsters in it, and then after that there was a competing game company that was doing Lovecraft stuff. So TSR didn't want to promote somebody else's shit, so they didn't put the Lovecraft monsters in. So that's my mouse pad. And the Arlathotep was right there.
Yeah.
And one of his forms is a red bat-like creature that has 3 eyes, and that's what I was saying. That
It did have
lava
3 eyes.
monsters-
Yeah, it did have 3 eyes.
It did kind of look like a
Yeah.
bat.
And when the best story that happens in is this dude who lives in the east side of Providence by Brown University, and this is right near where I grew up. Looking across the valley of Providence at Federal Hill to this this dilapidated church, and eventually it gets a hold of his mind so much that the 3-lobed burning-eyed bat creature gets him. He's like staring out his window, and it's like, oh shit, here it comes! Ah! And
Yeah,
I'm
but it
like,
took an hour.
that's the D&D rules.
Okay, wait.
D&D's all about the rules.
Wait, but circling back. So, and I know you guys hate me because
I hate you for saying that.
I
but
like
we're
structure,
both saying
but
that.
Andrew, everyone knows what your dio is because you just explained it like 30 minutes ago, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah.
Jeff, like, explain what your dio is all about.
Okay, so I wanted to do something.
Grab.
Oh yeah, there's over on the piano. There's a thing.
Yeah.
So
oh yes.
I don't know where does that idea? Yeah, heavy, right?
Hopefully.
Yeah. Oh, funny.
Such a comedian.
He just smiled like.
This is the whip.
Yeah. So we decided to leave
It's so scary. It scared
for
everybody off.
MorrowCon a day early, and is it Guy Himber?
You're now on it.
Hello, Guy Himber.
This is not Guy Himber.
What's up, dude? Say what's up to the internet. Best episode yet.
Yeah.
Hey, it's my brother-in-law. We get to meet my whole family today.
Yeah, man. This
Yeah.
is it's MorrowCon, yo.
Yeah. Right.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Oh, thanks. Thank you very much.
Yes, perfect reaction.
I was just
live and uncut.
discussing with the internet.
That's really cool.
I just finished it.
That's very nice.
Like literally, like
No, I saw him starting it last night.
30 minutes ago.
Yeah. A while ago.
See, last night Jeff got here and this didn't exist
Dude,
at all.
Yeah. So what I wanted to do was some version of Rivendell. Because Andrew's doing Techno Mordor, so I wanted to do something with like Friends figures. I mean, I don't.
You know what's weird is I don't even know where that Techno Mordor name came from. I don't think that came from me. I think somebody was like, "You should."
I don't
One
know,
of
was it
I
you?
might have came up
I think it
with
was
that.
like we
Yeah.
sort of spitballed these general realms, and they were like Techno Mordor. That's the one Andrew should build. And I was like, okay.
I thought it was your. I thought you were at the beginning, where it's just like, no, I'm going to do blood, fire, and death.
Yeah, I thought you
That's
grabbed
fine.
it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I thought
that does sound like
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
right?
It was out there.
Yeah.
But so I decided I wanted to do Rivendell Gone Bad. So actually, and at this point, I still have to do the most colorful part of the dio, which is the top where all the creatures and the people are, all the denizens who are jumping into the portal.
Zach, you can vape on camera. What are you doing, dude?
I just want to cause problems.
So
It's no problem.
It's legal, bro. It's California.
where do you
You're
Wait,
nicotine.
where
am I
do
18?
you, where do you
Yeah.
live?
Yeah.
But I wanted to do something where it was like Rivendell Gone Bad was my first. I think I'm going to call it the Cursed Forest. But the notion was that the Techno Mages version of Rivendell got invaded by something that was just like bad on a level of bad that was different from all the other kind of bads that the Techno Mages worlds generally deal with. Like something from a broken universe was my notion. And
You called it the technovirus earlier.
yeah, I call it the
Yeah.
Technovirus, but
Yeah.
there's already a lot
But
of
the-
techno.
But the technovirus, I feel like, informed all of us.
Yeah.
Right.
In a lot of
I-
ways.
yeah.
So I was like, just that term, that
So,
coinage of that was like.
I mean,
perfect.
what I kind of want to do is get some trans neon green stuff on this, and like I have some UV light set up that might work. We'll see how that. I guess at this
And
point.
mushrooms.
And mushrooms.
Was it awesome?
You tell me.
You guys know.
Yeah, hopefully
Yeah,
what-
Wait. How's it work?
Leave a comment
Leave
below.
a comment below. Yeah.
Not awesome, Jeff. You
Yeah,
need to
right.
deliver.
Yeah. It's
So-
like, right. Nope.
So
Hey
normally-
Jeff. No.
We
So
got
normally,
a week and a half.
normally I would go in order. I want to do Moro last because we
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
have
well,
some
obviously,
demonstration.
yeah.
So, like, real quick for mine.
Yeah.
It started out as Mad Max. Is what we.
But
it
I
was
feel
like
like
the
this is
idea.
kind of the same
No,
thing. Where
I think we just ditched the Mad
Yeah,
Max.
we did. No, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't do any Mad Max thing. That was
No,
like
yeah.
the thought was like,
Well, I
oh,
think
you're
it was
gonna
just
do a
like
Mad Max
there was
world.
like another realm where we're like, yeah, we'll
Yeah.
have one that's Mad Max, and you were like, I don't know what my world is gonna be, and we're like, just take this one.
Yeah.
And we're like,
I think that's, and I was like, okay, and then I was like, yeah,
he's not feeling
Wow.
it,
dude,
This
I
actually
love.
works.
Here, I'll take it back.
Like resting on this, they're resting my hands on this. Actually, it's like
Dude, I love that live reaction to
Yeah.
that. That was fucking
Yeah, I'll take it.
classic.
No, but I love Mad Max. Don't get me wrong. I think it's an awesome movie. I like the aesthetic. The new movie is
Yeah.
badass,
Mhm.
but
It didn't
just,
jive
no,
really
it-
with
Well,
like what we were doing. Like
post-apoc is.
yeah,
Yeah,
I just
it's-
was
it's-
like, no, it
it's
doesn't
been
work.
done.
Yeah,
it was
doesn't
played
work.
out like
Yeah.
10 years ago,
Yeah.
and it's like, does it really need to be in this?
Right.
Like anything fits in this.
Yeah.
Which is that's sort of the greatest thing and the worst thing about this is because there's not like a fitness lane.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, well, it's an infinite freeway with infinite lanes. So just whatever your lane is,
Yeah.
just fucking go
So
with it.
when we were doing the recap, it was all of a sudden it got to be something. It was called something city. Like, what was the name of it?
Oh, the jukebox.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jukebox
City.
yeah.
Right.
And I'm like,
Well,
call
we,
it
we,
the
were,
jukebox,
we were trying
yeah.
to push you towards Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
I remember
Right.
that being like
Right.
a big
Right.
influence.
Mm-hmm.
The name
We
of
were
the
like-
city
we were
is
like,
Sol-
you just make-
Solicium or
Salvador. No.
something. No, Silesium. Something.
I don't know.
So many people are
Yeah.
yelling
And-
at
and-
Scar right
yeah.
now.
The planet is
Scar.
called Sakaar.
Sakura.
Scar.
Yeah,
Sakaar.
that's the planet, not
Yeah.
the city, but the
Yeah,
says,
yeah.
It says the
yeah.
lore master.
Anyway, yeah,
Thank you.
definitely. But it was. I think it was Jukebox City, or it was something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it was the
jukebox.
jukebox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think for whatever reason I was like, that's what I want to do. And then I started doing it, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have this city. And I remember
Where
It
where
kind
did
of-
the underwater part
Dude,
come
wait.
from?
That was
I'll
all
tell you.
Zach.
so
Spoilers.
it culminated.
Yeah.
Spoiler. No,
Well, they've already seen
they
it.
already seen it.
Yeah.
Keep talking.
But it kind of culminated in me ordering fucking Bricklink order when I was drunk as fuck with you guys on the phone. Where I ordered
Yeah,
I ordered
yeah.
like 100 stickers for
You
the
you
Thor
have to
Ragnarok.
use those.
Yeah.
Oh,
right?
yeah. They're gonna be used.
Okay,
like
good.
Again, I have a lot
Dude,
of flat
I remember
surfaces
that-
on the buildings.
Wait,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
1 in
yeah.
the morning, and we're fucking hanging out with Zach, and he's like, "Yo, I can buy all these stickers for
They were cheap as hell.
5 cents a piece,
Yeah.
and there's 100 of them." And we were like, "Do it now,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah, it was a
What are
sticker
you
sheet. For,
doing?"
no, it was a sticker sheet for Thor Ragnarok, and it had come up during a one call,
Yeah.
and it came up in a second call, and it was a second call. I went to go buy them. Like,
Oh
I
yeah,
picked it
that
up.
was
I-
the impetus.
I put them in my cart. I was like, "They're in my cart, dude. I'm gonna buy
And
them."
I was like, no.
Yeah.
No. And then you took them out. Yeah.
And you disputed the charge,
Yeah.
right? Or you were
I
about
did
to?
some. Yeah, I don't forget what
Or
I
you were
did.
thinking about it. We were
Yeah.
like, "No, dude, you totally bought that shit." Yeah.
Anyways, this is the image that spawned the term the jukebox.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally.
I believe this is a painting from Ringworld, right?
Yes.
Larry Niven?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is from this awesome book that I discovered when I was in junior high
And I have a copy of that book too.
called Alien Landscapes. My art teacher had it, and when I became an adult, I bought a copy of it.
Morrow has like the best
Yeah. Some
inspirational nerd
Yeah.
library.
It's just it's a collection of classic sci-fi artists from around the era that we were talking about who just illustrated a bunch of stuff from random books.
yeah.
You say Mora has a good library. He does. Jeff has a fucking good library.
Jeff has an amazing,
Yeah.
you have all of the Terran Trade Authority.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Almost all of them,
dude.
like-
Well, I mean, that was all that stuff happened in the wake of Star Wars. Like all of a sudden,
So-
all that sci-fi cover art,
Yeah.
all those novels. People were like, "Let's throw this shit together and make a coffee table book."
That kind of shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was like on my every birthday and Christmas, I would ask for one of those books. You know, I'd be like, "I need this one. I need this one." You know, I was like, "Yeah,
So let's rewind. How did you get the water?
yeah."
Okay, so and this is the way that
Yeah. So at
You
this
know-
point, we have city and colors.
yeah, we have city
Yeah,
and
right,
colors.
right,
and like
yeah.
And I had already
Hellscape, which was like easily defined from the get.
I had
Like,
already talked a bit about doing Jack Kirby style and inspired buildings with my
Yeah,
city. That
yeah.
was always going to be the case. And then I forget what I did, but I will say it's Google's fault because in a good way.
So many things in
Because-
Google's fault.
But that's good. But I was Googling and I'm like, oh, let's look at Jack Kirby City or Jack Kirby Architecture or whatever. And this picture popped up. and it was like this floating city at the top with some badass buildings, and this like column thing, and then underwater was like underwater space
I don't
base.
think I've seen this image.
Yeah,
Dude,
I've seen
I
this.
sent it to like I swear I showed it to you guys.
I don't know, man. We have to
Ah,
find it and
fuck.
send it.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's review
I'm
it.
sure I can find it. I swear I showed
It
you guys.
did seem
on the
kind of
call.
out of nowhere. You were like, yeah,
Yeah.
dude. So
Oh, yeah.
I was supposed to build this city,
Yeah.
and now I'm
And
going
I'm
to
still
do
building the city.
XYZ, and
Yeah.
we were all like, yes, bro, do it.
So-
Underwater world.
So
Like,
you guys have seen it by now.
Mhm.
For me, there was two big things. The city had to look good, but I was really focused on the underwater coral action. Like I had a heart on for these corals. Like, I was like, how many
Yeah.
different corals can I do? How colorful can I make it? Is it going to be cool? And like, I was showing you guys prototypes, and you were like responding pretty positively to corals, which
dude, no, you
Fuck.
fucking nailed it like right
But,
off the
oh,
bat. And
I
I was like,
it's
dude,
just
like,
it's a color above and color below. It's like I think that dichotomy like really sells it.
yeah. Well, and it's
Oh, and Merly.
Merly.
And
So
Merly,
that's, we
dude.
should talk about the story of Merly in
Oh, yeah.
general.
Merly the Merlion.
Yeah, the Merlion, yes.
So one of the things that we've all learned from doing this is fuck rocks.
Yes.
Rocks
Yeah.
suck.
Yeah.
Building rocks.
I didn't
suck.
learn that lesson. I built a shit ton of rocks. But right before I started to build a bunch of rocks, you were like, build a bunch of heads. And I was like,
Oh,
what?
God.
Yeah, I don't do that. Like, that seems equally as hard.
And it might be.
It's probably worse, but more fun. right?
But yeah, so
Yeah.
so we talked about macro forms because one of the first things that we talked about was the Mad Max world of like having a giant fist.
Yeah.
I think at some point.
Yeah.
I think I may even do like drawing in crayon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That had a huge statue of a fist like coming out of the ground,
And, like,
kind of like the Jeddah planet, like those giant statues that
Yeah,
are all
yeah.
lying around.
And we talked about like giant skulls and giant fists
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
there was
Again,
there's
a
a
lot
lot
of
of
reference to like the art that influenced it, like Mobius canyons with giant.
Yeah,
art.
Mobius and
Yeah.
Drouet both put faces and human forms into architecture and natural like topography in a really, really cool way. And that's,
so there's obviously a ton of that in yours.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit in that in mine. But the person who do it first
yeah,
was
Yeah.
Merly.
yeah.
Well, and Jeff kind of like said he was gonna do these floating like these heads and map forms. And okay, well, Jeff's are like awesome and multiple of them. Mine is just a big dumb lion head.
Dude,
But
but it's fucking
it's-
awesome.
It's so well sculpted.
So-
guys, mine's
It-
not that good.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like-
Okay, no, wait. So,
Wait, but
so,
okay.
so wait. I gotta tell an important story here. I gotta tell an important. You the first lion head I built was not that great, and then my brother-in-law came to my house, and I told him because he's like a really good artist. I told him to look at it. And I'm like, dude, look at this. What do you think? And he like gave me a ton of pointers. So I'm like,
Okay.
okay. So then I
Did
started.
we even see that first version that you're talking about?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
It was way worse, in my opinion.
I remember telling you,
Because-
as like suggesting some tweaks around
Yes.
their eyes.
The,
Yes.
the brow
Yeah.
change
Yeah.
made all the
Yeah.
But the snout and everything was already there. I feel like by the time
So
we
the
saw it.
snout originally was like super flat, and like one of the things my brother-in-law said was, "Dude, the snout needs to come out more.
yeah,
the mouth
more
needs
of
to
a
be
muzzle.
angled more.
Yeah.
The eyes, which Jeff had already told me, the eyes need to be angled back more,
Well-
like looking like it's part of the face."
So the
better.
thing is too,
Yeah.
like you're building a 3D sculpture out of a column,
yeah,
and in that early
it was like
iterations,
on the
it
column.
was all column,
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right.
very
Yeah.
little
It's right
face,
there.
and then when you
Yeah.
where basically netted out, it was
Yeah.
like, oh, it's a sculpture, and the column
built
is
into the column.
secondary.
Yeah.
But
Which
like,
worked way better.
yeah.
So yeah, but no, like I took a lot of advice from
It's
you
also,
guys,
like,
my brother-in-law.
You
It's-
started
it's-
calling
it's-
it
it's
the
a cool name.
Merlion, which
Yeah.
is like the
So-
funniest fucking shit
So,
ever.
wait,
Merly.
okay,
So then we
okay,
get Merly the
so-
Merlion.
okay.
Yeah.
So underwater, right? I'm building the underwater thing. I want to do something that I've never seen before, never heard of.
Nobody's ever
Dude.
seen a Merlion.
They fucking not. Okay, I say they fucking exist. The term exists. They don't exist, but the term exists because I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna do a seahorse. I'm gonna do this.
Oh wait,
I'm gonna
was it on
Dude,
your?
if you had
what
done a
was-
seahorse,
Wait,
that would have been amazing.
did you pick up your mouse pad, which is a D&D book?
No.
And
And you're like, oh, it's a Merlion.
Yeah.
I don't have a Merlion
It's right there.
book. No. But I was like,
We're gonna
researching-
talk about this late in psychology
Yeah.
of building what you really want to
So,
later.
I was looking at krakens because I thought, oh, kraken would be cool because then the tentacles could like wrap around the.
Oh yeah,
collar.
yeah,
it is cool.
yeah.
I was thinking of a lot of things and like finally.
Tentacle action is definitely
Yes.
like it's great,
Yeah,
and
it's
there's
also,
plenty of tentacle action in the Dio.
Yeah.
That's surprisingly not in the underwater.
Yeah.
realm.
Oh,
There's some.
I put a
Yeah.
bunch of tentacles
I'm
underwater.
gonna bust out
but,
some tentacles.
but the thing
Alright,
is
dude.
like,
Depending on where you are in time.
but the thing is like,
Oh man, I'm thinking
again,
of the Legend of the Overfiend story you told earlier.
That's not
Okay.
suitable for.
how many people have seen krakens before?
What
Zero people.
You haven't seen a kraken before? Okay, I'm talking about. Okay,
I've never seen a kraken.
back up. Back up.
I
How many
watched the
people-
movie.
No, yeah. Okay, how many people have seen or heard of krakens before?
You mean
Oh,
that's
yeah,
like
it's
Pirates of
Pirates
the
yeah.
Caribbean?
Sure.
Yeah.
And how many people have seen or heard of merlions before?
Zero.
Yeah, so that was my dude, and you laugh. But that's the whole reason why I chose the merlion is because there's no merlion representation. And
Zach, you're
Oh,
a
shit.
champion of the
Oh my God.
disenfranchised
Yes.
Merlion.
Yes.
yeah, it's something new and unique.
What
and
about
no
the
one's ever
animals that
seen-
don't exist? Who speaks for them?
But you guys get what I'm saying. Okay, people have done krakens. I've seen Lego Kraken before. I've never seen a Lego merlion before.
Nobody's seen a Lego Merlion ever.
Yeah.
Dude, I feel like you're gonna have to cut
You-
this.
you-
Oh my God.
Yeah, you know,
Oh,
you're the
no,
Rosa
this is
Parks
perfect.
of the Lego imaginary creatures.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
I don't use
Alright,
the hero.
anyway.
man.
Woo!
So, wait, okay. Getting back on track.
Aw, yeah, baby.
Yeah. We have a track.
Yes! Dude, I
Oh
try
man,
to...
this episode is off the rails. It's the best.
I,
Oh my
I try to bring the structure when I come, so let's go. Okay, so we went.
Speaking of faces.
Yeah, no, wait.
Oh,
You
I
can
can't
go
breathe.
first. I was gonna say we've got a recap from Andrew and Jeff and me. Now it's Moro's turn to talk about his world.
Be minus, tell us about your dark magic.
I'm not
No, he's not
B-minus.
being
Oh, I'm sorry, dude.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna turn it on.
Oh my god.
That's what we need to focus on.
Oh, God, it's hypnotic.
Hold on, you guys need to see this in all of its glory.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this was the moment where yesterday we showed up, and we had seen this for weeks in videos and photos and like fucking all kinds of different things, but seeing this in person is a whole nother animal. Like, and you have this encapsulated, like, this is what I'm doing, almost from the conception.
There was,
of this whole thing. Like,
there was some evolution to it. Like Mobius was like my first influence for sure, and so I like Mobius loves deserts. He loves to draw deserts and like cool desert scenes. So that was kind of like, okay, it's going to be a desert piece. I don't know how we kind of arrived on the idea that I was going to be the arena.
I thought you grabbed that one.
Maybe I grabbed it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe because it was.
I don't. I'm not
Maybe
saying
because-
I don't have a sharp memory of it.
Yeah.
That's,
Maybe it's just because this.
That's
Yeah.
my guess.
Anyways, but you know, it being the arena, I kind of like, okay, it's going to be like a natural coliseum kind of idea, where it's like, you know, it's like a valley with rocks around the edges. Original. I don't think it's not done yet, so we don't know. There's probably not going to be rocks all the way around the edges because I don't want to hide what's behind it. But
Or it would be
yeah.
implied, though.
Desert.
Yeah,
So desert arena was the idea, and then there was going to be a centerpiece. I knew that, and I knew that the centerpiece was going to be motorized, animated somehow. This, you know, it wasn't going to be this. It kind of evolved into this, and then early on we were just kind of like tossing around the fiction of like what this whole like war of the Technomages is about. And I just like wrote a paragraph of bullshit of just like, oh, you know, the planet every 1,000 years, there's a great convolution on the planet, and you know, thousands of civilizations have existed on this planet in the past, and like seeded the ground with ancient technology, which you know, and so that kind of like evolved into this idea of like greebles in cracks in the ground, and then with the centerpiece, that kind of naturally became like, oh, the centerpiece is what's
there's got to be a reason for it. Yeah.
It's beautiful. I mean, I feel like in terms of like just sort of concepts, like visual concepts that we connected with this theme, the idea of peeling away the surface level of turf or sand or whatever, and there's wires and gears and shit under there.
Yeah.
Was a big part of it. And you totally manifested that like so beautifully.
We had definitely talked about the integration of magic and technology within every fiber of like all the environments, and that it's eons of repeated combat, and that there's this detritus and sort of build up of history underneath of all of this.
Well, that was my notion for the faces.
Yeah.
Like my idea for the wall of the faces is that like nobody knows who even carved these, Right?
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
assign
It
new
sort of goes beyond
names and
time.
new legends to them, but there's tech in there, like there's ancient technology, ancient transistors and all that shit.
Yeah.
Plus, it also, I think we've had this implication that there's something kind of corrupt about this universe.
Right.
It's like this and this is so like obviously corrupt. I mean, look at it. It's just so awesome.
The depth is amazing. The execution's amazing, but also just the like.
It was like 4 bricks of
The
Regal down there.
wickedness of it and the Geigerness of it, and how it's like, it's very scary.
I can't.
It's good.
And it I can't stop staring at it. Is the other thing.
Well, so since you are the Dark Wizard, we should talk about the actual technology behind this. And how that works.
Yeah. What the
So,
hell?
there's a guy who has another YouTube channel called JK Brickworks. Jason Allman.
They'll put a link.
All in,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Here's the link right here.
Ow! If you don't know him,
Can we get our
already,
heads back
follow
into the frame again?
We can.
Since I'm banned from touching the computer.
Yeah. The idea for the lightning in the cracks, like that was just like in the back of my head for some reason. And it took me 5 months to realize that it's the opening sequence from The Dark Crystal, which is one of my favorite movies.
So
There's a poster on the wall.
You guys should.
Like right there.
Yeah.
Boom. Right there.
fucking
Zach pointed that
Yes.
poster.
Oh.
Yeah.
There you go. There's a crystal. And,
Is there lightning in the cracks in the ground in the Dark Crystal?
In the movie.
The intro sequence is just like
That's
this
so-
panoramic shot of the castle, and there's all the cracks in the ground. There's lightning in the sky, and there's lightning.
That's cool. I've seen. It's been a while.
And it's probably the exact same tech.
Yeah.
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 Right, sure. Why not?
So, anyways, Jason Allman and some other guy who I don't know did a Kickstarter a couple years ago, maybe.
I think last year.
Yeah, last year
Recently.
for a third-party brain brick, basically it's basically a little Raspberry Pi that can drive power functions and also brick stuff lights, little LEDs, which I already had a bunch of brick stuff lights, and so it was kind of perfect. And it's awesome because it's all just it's this little app that you pull up and you can like script little sequences and like warm power up, power
Meaning,
down.
Mario coded how all of this works.
Yeah.
There's
Like
like a huge
ground
speaker that's
Yeah.
hooked up to the lightning
Yeah.
sound.
And like all the lights go with the thunder,
Yeah.
and then just the mechanical engineering of how all of this works.
There's
The counter rotation,
Yeah,
the,
there's
like,
different speeds, different
Yeah.
directions.
and it's smooth as eels fucking in butter. Dude. It's great. It's like
I
I didn't come up with that. That's
keep saying that like
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's a line from a
And, like,
comic.
And
It's a
2-beat
Matrix
reaction to that. I don't know. That's
Yeah.
nice. Okay, fine.
The original inspiration for the centerpiece was an orrery, which is the model of the planets.
Yeah.
And so,
Oh,
so
Dark
I
Crystal,
knew that.
yeah.
Yeah. So I knew that again. Dark Crystal. That was the one
But that was
Favorite.
above ground. That was right out in the open.
Yeah. Anyways, so that's where like I knew like there was going to be rotation and counter rotation and stuff, and then over many iterations of
7 redos, you said, right?
I keep going. So
God
that's
damn.
probably about
Well,
Dude.
I remember looking at the original like prototypes, and Moro sent me videos, and I was looking at it, and dude, it looked cool.
But yeah,
But it
a little-
was
little
shaky.
shaky. Yeah.
Yeah.
This
Mhm.
is nothing like what I saw with the original iteration.
Is there one motor?
There are
Powered?
2 motors. It was going to be one originally, and I eventually it was just putting too much strain on one motor, so I split it up.
Will you pop it back on?
Is it 2 motors, but they're sort of moving the same thing?
So one of the things that you guys
Yeah, one motor drives the outer ring.
we don't have the flashlights on.
Yeah.
So there are
here, let me-
flashlights
let me just
within this.
Yeah. Here we go.
This is
Which-
the 3rd diode that I've used them on. 4th.
Yeah, I guess
UV.
yeah, because did you use them in Space Gun?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were lighting up plants in the caves.
So
It's
the
pretty
crystal at the top here, this like it's an asymmetrical cube, and because it's rotating within the flashlight, so you guys can't see this for shit. It looks awesome. It looks super
Oh, it
cool.
looks cool.
But-
Yeah.
What
But you can't see it.
but
like,
you can't see the studs
sparkle,
hit
yeah.
the light and then
Mhm.
go. So it sort of gives this like really weird ethereal motion to it,
Yeah.
where it feels like the studs are lighting up organically from within.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
And it's a nice sort of 8-bit construction, and also it's transmedium blue and reactive, like blacklight reactive blue
yeah.
is sort of like the one you don't see that often. You know, if you ever had
Well,
a
and
set
like-
of markers or a paint set,
This,
You know,
hopefully,
you
when
know.
you motherfuckers have seen this, you've been like, "This is amazing! It's the best shit ever." But like, even in this light,
Yeah.
this
Right.
this works super
yeah,
well.
this is gonna look
Like,
good. I think
Yeah.
maybe in the hall too.
And
I'm
I would,
psyched for this.
I would love to take credit for it, but it is mostly a happy accident where I had the idea late in the development of like, oh, I should put fucking black lights in it and shine them on the thing, and then like just the fact that there were counter-rotating things casting shadows
Yeah,
on it, and,
yeah.
like, gave that ripple.
Yeah,
effect.
it, like,
And
works
I was like, oh,
perfectly.
it's perfect. I don't have to do
Yeah.
anything. Just like, yeah. So
Hooray for happy accidents.
There's multiple gear speeds too, which is what I love because the bottom is rotating at a different speed than the column, which is rotating at a different speed than the top. I mean, it's just again. I mean, I know it's all just gearing and
But
the
But
technical
that's-
aspects of it are
yeah,
beyond my.
it hurts my
comprehension.
brain
Yeah.
just looking at this, being like, "Oh fuck!" Like
it's for
you
me,
being able to pull it off,
it's-
and then when the thunder happens and all the lights light up because it's all keyed and coded to
Yeah.
the fucking sound, I'm like, "Oh yeah."
It's just the-
Mara has all the dark wizardry.
I took a design class and I talked about rhythm. Like a car grill has rhythm. Like your eye just kind of like starts. Your eye just starts over here and
Yeah.
just goes along the whole thing.
Yeah.
And this has rhythm because he's like you start in the ground and then you look at this the big fat rotating ring and then you're just like whoa, and then back to the ground and it's this is tasty.
This is basically like the mesmerizing event of MarioCon. It's like as soon as you
Yeah.
looked this up last
Yeah.
night, like
Yeah.
everybody was like, "What
Well,
the fuck?" Like,
I shot a short movie, but you shot one earlier.
I shot a 5-second
and
video.
you
that
caught
was
me
good.
laughing like a fool.
Oh, dude, it's the most.
I was like,
it's-
"Who's that laughing?" It
It's
was
super
me.
authentic
Yeah.
because we were just like, "Yeah, you win."
okay.
It's
let's-
not a competition,
hold on, hold on,
but
hold on.
Moro won.
It's
Well,
not a competition, and this would not have happened if it weren't for the 3 other fuckers sitting in this row, constantly feeding back,
Crazy
Yeah.
bastard.
Well, but-
pushing the envelope. Like
Yeah.
the terrain would not have happened if Zach hadn't 2 years ago when we did Moonbase been like, hey,
snot,
Castle
everything.
Castle
yeah.
is stepping up their terrain game. We got to do better
Yeah,
terrain.
yeah.
And I'm like,
Well,
Okay.
and
We
the
did it
crazy
once.
the crazy
Let's do it
thing
again.
about this terrain is like it is a lot of it is studs up, which actually is going to be key for getting
For fig
fighters on
Yeah.
fig placement
Yeah,
on here.
yeah. Well, and
But,
like so,
but the nutsy thing is the cracks, dude. That's all snotted,
and
it is
it's all super
mind-blowing.
precisely thought out.
it was a pain in the
Pass me
fucking
down.
Oh, yeah.
So you guys might have heard some weird vibrating motion. It wasn't this. It was the ice cream.
Oh yeah. So this
Next
is,
time, Maro's gonna make one that does all this shit and
And makes
And
ice
makes
cream.
ice cream.
Thank you.
But
You were awesome.
Jenna, can you get me a tablet?
Yeah. So
Jenna Mora. Did you already hear about Jenna making this ice cream for us?
just now, yeah.
Oh yeah. So we have homemade ice cream
live on stream.
live on stream.
Yeah.
We're gonna rate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You win.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's
Bricks,
not terrible.
bricks and beer and ice
Thank
cream.
you, Jenna.
You're welcome.
It's probably a good note to just end it
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Dude,
Fucking
this is delicious
so
ice
perfect
cream.
ice
Holy
cream.
crap.
If you have any homemade
Ice cream
cookies and
recipes,
cream ice
send
cream,
them to Andrew.
why don't you have some now and we're gonna jam?
Yeah,
Thanks
rate
for
us
watching.
later.
I think we're gonna
So
do
these guys are gonna fucking drive to Seattle. So wish them luck. If they roll the car, the next episode will be real weird. We'll see you in the future.
Get your life together.
Bye bye.
Yeah, dude. You win. You win, bro.
Holy